Hi, my name is Blair Glenn. I'm an ISA certified arborist. The tree I'm talking about here is the Liriodendron tulipifera, also referred to as the tulip tree, or in some cases the tulip poplar. This is a very fast-growing tree. It's a great shade tree. It is typically from the East Coast. It grows wild in the United States and is commonly used as a hardwood tree for furniture production. It is imported into California as a shade tree, but unfortunately there are some problems. The tree was so popular when it first was introduced to our area that it was commonly used as a street tree. Throughout San Jose, Campbell, and many of the suburbs, there are literally thousands of these trees that have been planted. And now for the problem. These little bumps you can see here on the twigs are actually insects. They're an insect called scale. Scale can completely devastate a tulip poplar. They can cause branch dieback, they can cause excessive amount of decline, they can cause dripping, and they create an incredible mess. And in large enough numbers, they can actually kill the trees. The tree in the center here is almost entirely dead, and it's caused by scale. The tulip tree, as I said before, is used as a street tree, and unfortunately, the insects cause the pitch from the trees to drip. The drip causes damage to cars. It also creates a very sticky environment on the sidewalks and on the streets, and can be very hazardous. As you can see from this photo, this tree is about 50% gone. It is leafing out, it is surviving, but slowly through the years, the canopy is going away. Here's just another example. These trees are fairly tall. They're 50 to 60 feet tall. They should be full. They should be totally leafed out right now, but they're almost gone. It's really sad because a lot of our neighborhood's environment and the beauty is derived from the trees. And unfortunately, when an entire neighborhood is comprised entirely of these tulip poplars, then the whole problem becomes very radical. I'm not an advocate for monoculture where you have entire blocks of the same trees, because when a problem does erupt, such as the scale, it affects everything. It affects an entire neighborhood. These trees can get very large. They also can cause damage. Many of our streets are damaged by the upheaval from the roots and the sheer expansion from the size of the trunk. If this tree continues to thrive, it's just going to be a few years before it outgrows its environment anyway. And here's a close-up of these little critters. They can be treated. It is extremely difficult. Because they have those little protective cases on there, the exterior sprays that are applied to these are somewhat difficult. You can put a chemical in the ground that is absorbed through the tree as a systemic, and that does have some effect. Some people are going so far as to inject the trees with the same kind of systemic, and the insects are absorbing the chemicals through the twigs, and that's actually causing them to decline. All of these things work, but they're very expensive, and in many cases, external spraying is also difficult on the streets. Now, I have to be very careful because when I talk so negatively about a tree, it sounds like there's no hope. But on the positive side, I do see this tree in alternate environments at a little bit higher elevation or where it gets a little bit colder. I've seen some of these tulip trees growing in the Santa Cruz Mountains that show absolutely no sign of the scale at all. Occasionally I see a tulip tree that's growing all by itself that is not as much of a target. When you have lots and lots of tulip trees growing together, that seems to exacerbate the problem. I really like the tulip tree. It's got a beautiful shady canopy. It's got some attractive flowers. It's a great lawn tree. It does like a lot of water. Unfortunately, some of the effects from the tree, some of the problems from the tree, the insects, are due to the fact that we imported a tree from an alternate environment that gets much colder than here, and it adapted and did quite well until the insect population overcame the trees. And now, because we have so many thousands of these trees on our streets, the impact from it is becoming an economical disaster as well as an environmental disruption. So thank you for taking the time to view this brief presentation. My name is Blair Glenn. I am an ISA certified arborist.